I've always said the bird dog is the foundation or the most fundamental exercise to any low back strength and endurance program because of the muscles it works and the type of stability it brings to the lower back, so you're able to build that low back strength and endurance. Now, it doesn't mean that it's an exercise that you need to do throughout a whole program. But it is certainly the most fundamental one, and any beginner coming to a program should be doing it. And what we're going to do in part one is talk about the teaching points to the bird dog. So if you haven't seen a bird dog before, we are down on all fours. So we come down into this position. So we come into this box position. So we've got wrists below the shoulders, knees below the hips. The other key thing is getting the position of the back. So what we don't want is a rounded lower back or an arched lower back. We want to be somewhere in between, so we just come into this position here. So this is the position that we find ourselves in at the start. We then have a mild brace of the abdominals. We don't need to brace really tight and hold our stomach muscles really tight for the very simple reason it's not that type of exercise. What we're looking to build is, again, it's that fundamental strength, endurance and stability to the lower back. And in a later part, we're going to talk about the muscles and why the bird dog is so important. So we start in this position here, and then very simply, all we then do is we lift the arm and the leg from the floor. Now you can create a fist, you can also externally rotate at the shoulder, and what that will do, that will access some more muscles of the back of the latissimus dorsi, but I'll explain more about that in a second. So what we're doing is we're not, with the leg, we're not lifting it into that position, and the same with the arm. We're not lifting into that position. What we are doing is coming from here and we're pushing our leg back. All that does, that helps maintain this position of the back. When we push like so, we maintain the position of the back. Again, when we have the arm here, we're maintaining the position of the shoulder. So what we're not doing is, again, we're not lifting, we are sweeping it off the floor and holding that position. Again, we maintain a mild brace of the abdominals, and what we're also doing is trying to maintain level shoulders and hips. So what I'm not doing is I'm not overarching, I'm just coming into this position, and then as I hold the position, I'm maintaining the position of the shoulders and the hips. When we lift the leg, we want to access the glute, so we lift this leg to access the glute, we lift the arm to extend the lever for longissimus and iliocostal, rotate at the shoulder for latissimus dorsi, and we brace the abdominals. So in a very sort of brief overview, that is how we would go about performing the bird dog. What we're going to talk about next are the muscles that are involved, some of them, but I'm going to explain a little bit more about why we're using them and how they're building that low back strength and endurance and the stability to the lower back. And then in the later parts, we're going to talk about how we can make it a little bit easier, but also how we can make it a little bit harder.